All right, here we are again. The Life on Life's Terms podcast. I'm Tom Robinson, and like I always say, we're not affiliated with any 12-step program, although we do advocate them and are members of them.
My name is Chris Mandeville. We are here at a New Way Recovery Center in Quincy, Mass, on Quincy Ave. We ask that you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play. It's called The Life on Life's Terms podcast.
And go to the site, LOLTERMS.com, LOL. You can subscribe through the site.
Yep.
We have a YouTube channel, and we have a Facebook group. Life on Life's Terms podcast Facebook group.
Yep, where we broadcast all of this live. So
on Thirsty Thursdays.
Yes. So please support us. And what else do we talk about usually?
We introduce the guest.
Oh,
now.
yes. That would be Nicole.
Nicole, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So, yeah, normally what happens is you share your experience, strength, and hope. And, I don't know, we make fun of you.
Sounds good.
So,
take it away.
take it away.
Take it away.
All right. Hi, guys. My name's Nicole Scheib. My sobriety date is October 14, 2013.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
Miracle.
always. So I grew up in a small town, Holbrook. I've lived on the South Shore my whole life.
Holbrook, that kind of like, it's like in the middle of nowhere. There's like, you can't really get out of there fast. You can't get in there fast.
You probably don't want to go in there.
I lived in the only trailer park in Holbrook with my mom.
Nice.
In my darker days.
I live in a trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird, Holbrook.
It is. Small town, though. Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Can be good, but can definitely be bad as well.
Definitely be bad. Yeah. So let me see. I picked up my first drug at the age of 14. I don't remember my first drink. And from there, my disease progressed. We moved when I was a junior in high school and moved down to Marshfield, to an ocean town. So it was mostly parties on the beach, and it was the 90s.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Marsh Vegas is lovely.
Marsh Vegas is
So
lovely.
it was a drinking town with an ocean problem.
Absolutely. So I grew up in the 90s, and we took a lot of acid. So pretty much my high school days were drinking, smoking weed, and taking acid. And
Yeah.
I had a
can
good
relate
high
to
school
that.
career.
Yeah, me
you know
too.
what I mean?
I loved it.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
exactly what I did.
Good times, good times. So I'm a senior in high school, and I'm introduced to cocaine. How my disease progresses is that the cocaine didn't work for me anymore, so I went on to bigger and better.
Yeah.
18, I become a smoking crack user, and yeah, it was one hell of a time.
Oh, I'm sure. I know mine was. But like back then it was like, you know, Richard Pryor was doing it, and like all these stars were doing it, like you'd see all that.
Yes.
So it's like, I gotta try that.
Absolutely.
In the 90s, I never.
And
I
it was
never did
it
too
wasn't
much
it
in the
wasn't really
90s.
was it crack, or was it
Well, in the
free
early
base?
90s.
It was free base.
I guess I smoked a lot of crack in the 90s. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You did?
Yeah, in the early 90s, I didn't though.
Yeah, mine was the later 90s.
Later 90s.
Yeah, mine. I think
I was just still drinking.
that was
smoking
actually
weed.
the first time I ever tried coke was crack. I went to my high school prom with an 8-ball of powder, and I came home with an 8-ball of powder. I didn't even touch it. The first time I ever tried it, I smoked it.
That's Brockton for you.
Yeah. good
Just
old
went to the
boogie
big
down.
guns.
Yeah. Go big
Hey,
or go home.
That's right.
You know? It was, yeah. And instantly I knew why people were doing, because how that whole thing came about was a friend of mine ended up going to jail for selling some coke to an undercover cop. So me being the young father and entrepreneur that I was, I took over her business for her. And like my friends started coming and buying stuff, and it's like one of my buddies, I was out all day on a Saturday driving around, and he buys this car that he's always wanted, and at 2 in the morning he was ready to give me the fucking title for like a 40.
Absolutely.
I'm like, he's like, couldn't even talk. I'm like, go home. Just go home. Like, but I understood. And then once I tried it, I'm like, oh my God, now I know why. So yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah. So I'd say about 99 is when I hit a phase of my life when, listen, don't judge people, okay? I became a rave kid. If anyone remembers that stuff, yeah.
Yep.
So I got hooked on ecstasy, Special K, and crystal meth, and traveling to the western part of the state, traveling up to New Hampshire, and yeah, those are days I fondly remember.
I did that stuff, but it was on the western part of the country, California.
Glow sticks.
Yeah.
Glow sticks.
Yeah.
Vapor rub.
Vapor rub too, huh?
Yeah.
We used to
Would
do
you eat
that
it?
type of stuff. We used Tiger Balm. You put it on your temples when you're tripping.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We used to put it on our upper lip, so when you inhale the vapor rub, it's supposed to enhance your high.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When you were taking ecstasy?
Yes.
I can remember tripping and putting that Tiger Balm on my temples and thinking the wind was blowing right through my head.
Yeah, I can picture that.
True story.
Yeah.
Like that weird sensation on both sides.
So during this time, I found out I'm pregnant at about 20 years old, and I thought, all right, that's just a phase of my life, the drug phase, and I'm going to be a mom, and now I'm going to get my life together. So I have my first son at 21, and 3 months after I had him, OCs came into the area I lived in about 2001, and it starts off with maybe 10 milligrams, and you're feeling good, and then your body becomes, needing more, and it's off and running.
Yeah. Ugly.
Yeah. So, let's say 6 months to a year, like most heroin addicts, we find out about heroin, and it's cheaper, and so start traveling into Brockton every day. That's pretty much where I did my running, and for the next 14 years, I was an IV drug user trying to get sober and not knowing how.
So yeah, right about when yours kicked off, that's when mine
Yours,
came
I
to a
did.
screeching halt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Brockton PD.
Yeah, I was working at a commercial building in Brockton doing a fence behind there, and I got heroin. I had to go into the front of the building to talk to the owner about the fence, and by the time I walked around through the alley and out to the back, I scored heroin before I got to the front door.
Yep.
That's how prevalent that was. I used to go to Brockton, and I'd be mad if I couldn't score within like 15 minutes. I'd be like, what's going on today? You know what I mean?
Cops must be out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bad. Just so bad.
5 minutes, Papa.
Yeah.
Ugh.
5 minutes.
An hour later.
Yep.
Yeah, so that became, that was when my 14 years of trying to get sober and not knowing how, I went to multiple halfway houses. I did a methadone clinic for 3 years. I did a Suboxone clinic. I had 4 51As filed on me, and that's for child neglect, for all the overdoses that occurred at my home. Yeah. So what that looked like for me was losing custody of my kids. By the grace of God, my parents got custody of them.
So did it take 4 of them for them to come in and take your kids away, or?
Yes. It went to, the first time a slap, you need to go to maybe like an IOP or go to some meetings. The second time, maybe you should go.
Intensive outpatient program.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Second time is more of you need to go away for 30 days, And my thing was, all right, I'll go away for 30 days and then I'll be cured and then I can come home and live my life.
Who took the kid during the 30 days when you were gone?
My child was pretty much bounced between family members.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my brother
that's a
and my
good thing,
sister-in-law or my mom and dad or, yeah.
I'm sure that a lot of kids end up awarded the state for certain periods of time and all that stuff.
Right.
At least you had the family to step up. That's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some kids aren't so lucky, and I've heard some pretty horrible stories of foster care. But I've also heard some really great ones. Even my niece, she ended up in a place where the lady took her surfing, and like she had like an awesome time.
Surfing, I never tried it. You know, all the times I've been out to the San Diego, and I never tried surfing.
No, me either.
Tom, you're sober now. You should probably try surfing.
I know it.
So it ended up taking 4 51As for them to come in and say you can't have your children no more.
Right. So my parents had to go to court.
Because we're liars. I'm sure you were just telling these people exactly what they wanted to hear.
Absolutely.
You know, I've done all that.
Yeah, faking urines inside of my own slips.
I did the same thing. I remember DCF was coming to my house to urine me and my son's mother. And
DCF is what?
Department of Children and Families.
It used to be DSS, Department of Social Services.
Social Services.
That's what it was back then.
That's the one I know about.
I remember taking my son into the bathroom. Here, you got to pee in this cup.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to put it under the sink, but he's not going to know that. So that when the lady comes and asks for a sample, I'm going to go in there and pour his pee. And I'm telling him it's for the doctor.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's for your doctor. Okay. You know. Because why would they give you a heads up? We're coming by today. You know? Okay, let me hide all my shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, I think back on it now, and I think it was probably traumatizing for my family. I mean, they had to go through my cabinets to make sure that my parents had enough food. They had to take each child in a separate room and check their skin and stuff to make sure I wasn't abusing them, you know?
Yeah.
And at the time, obviously, I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm thinking about, when is this lady going to leave? Because I need to go cop, right?
Oh yeah, I can just totally imagine that scenario, because it's so strong an obsession. It sinks so far into your mind that nothing else really matters, and it's. I'm just glad that I was able, you know, my kid's mother was there for him when he was real young, and I was still using. He was I got sober 9 months into his life, I believe, and I just can't imagine. I remember I had him a few times when I was using, and I would, you know, wait to get home with him. I'd put his car seat in front of the TV, and then I'd go use, you know. Yeah, and one of the memories I have is once I got into the program, when I finally did get sober, and just thinking, like, just imagine if I had OD'd, and he'd be sitting there.
Yeah.
In front of the TV, and I'd be dead. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's so selfish. It's so sad, you know?
Yeah, but, I mean, we don't think of that. We're so... I was so caught up, you know, that it had nothing to do with my kid. Like,
yeah, it's not... it's not a malicious thing. It's just you're just under the control.
Yeah,
so strong.
If someone's listening or watching, like, we get that, you know. Don't
totally get it.
Don't beat yourself up if you've put your kids at risk.
Absolutely. I think for myself, when DCF finally came and I lost custody, you know, the selfishness and self-centered as myself as an addict, it was a green light for me.
Oh, yeah.
It gave me the ability to go and use like I wanted to. I no longer had responsibility. You know, not that I was taking care of them the best I could, because I absolutely wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
My child lived off of, you know, going to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning and getting 5 munchkins in the afternoon was chicken nuggets, and, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
That was, you know, how I lived my life. So, during the time I'm on the methadone clinic, and I think it's a great idea to go to nursing school. So I go to nursing school, and I come off the methadone clinic, and I end up picking back up. And at this time, you know, I'm probably like 4 or 5 months pregnant, still actively using. Didn't know I was pregnant. For a lot of females, you know, that whole menstrual cycle doesn't quite work when we're using.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have my son, and DCF comes again, and it's, you know, meconium's positive for multiple things, and again, there I am. My option again is to go away to treatment. So again, it's another halfway house, you know. For a long time, I thought if I went to the best, you know, women's halfway house, that would get me sober, and I think I went to the 3 of the top best in Massachusetts, but it didn't get me sober because I didn't do anything, you know.
Exactly. You fix me oh,
Right,
that one
right.
didn't work because they didn't fix me.
Right.
Like, it's so funny because the people in power think that that's how it works. Like, oh, this program works because this program is getting people sober. No, it's not. Like, that program is helping people get sober. You know what I mean?
Right.
That program is a place where people can get sober and get the information that they need to figure out how to get sober. People who want to get sober, people who are willing, people who are hit bottom and have got that gift of desperation and are willing to stop using. Because all the fucking talk and programs in the world aren't going to get you sober until you have that gift of desperation or until you decide to participate for yourself.
Yeah.
Or for whatever reason. But you're not going to get sober by sitting in a chair and saying, all right, let me watch the movie and then I'll be sober.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, Trigger Tuesday.
And it just triggered Tuesday. Wow. We used to, at that program, we used to watch these movies that would be like, it would trigger us so that the director of the program would make us all watch movies that would make us see people using drugs or whatever. And
drinking or whatever.
I don't know. I guess
And
it
then
was
we'd have
good.
to talk about it after.
Yeah, and we'd talk
How did
about
that
it
make
after.
you feel?
Oh, it's about feelings.
Hey, and it was crazy. One time we were watching, I think it was a movie with Mickey Rourke. Might have been Barfly or something.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Me and the whole group, the whole house is in the living room, and we're watching this meeting.
30 eyes. Big living room.
And we hear this distinct sound. And I hear it, and I'm like, and I turn around, and this young kid, Joey, from Southie, he hears it too, and he looks at me, and he's like, I'm like, so we have a break. They have an intermission for the movie.
Yeah.
What the sound was a fucking spoon hitting the tile floor. And it was a counselor.
Ooh.
He was like, dude, did you hear that spoon? I said, yes, I did.
Is that Randy?
Yeah, Randy.
He's passed away now.
Yeah, he's passed away, but
That
he.
sucks. That
And then after, so like second half of the movie, me and that kid Joey are like this, like looking
Talk
at him,
about
and
Trigger
he's
Tuesday.
like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's sitting there and he's like,
yeah, Randy's
And
the
I'm like,
counselor's there nodding off in the park. Oh,
look at this
my
dude.
word.
you know.
What
Yeah.
the?
So he ends up being asked to leave like not long after that, but they just say you got to go and like don't take keys from him or nothing. And one day he just comes in, walks right by everybody, goes to the med cabinet, cleans it out, and leaves, and no one did nothing. Like, hey, Randy was just here. I'm like, why? I don't know. He went over to the med cabinet. Why? Like, what? No one said nothing? Like, the dude got fired. He was getting high here. Like, you guys just let him walk in? Like, we're senior residents at the time. We've been there a while, you know? Like, dude, you just, hey, good luck at meds tonight because you don't have any. Sorry.
Randy's got them.
Yeah, Randy's fucking chewing them like fucking Skittles right now. Like a Pez dispenser. You know? Crazy. But that sound. Trigger Tuesday.
Pretty
Yeah.
distinct sound.
Yep. Kind of crazy.
I used to cut the bottom off of cans myself. Anyway.
Yeah. Back to you and DCF and methadone clinic and
Oh yeah, so jeepers, I'm thinking about Randy right now.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I of course, I've done the methadone clinic. I did the Suboxone clinic, and like any good addict, we sell the Suboxone so we can get high. And I found out I'm pregnant, and I don't want to be that mother, but really I am that mother. So I'm prescribed Subutex, and of course people pay more money for Subutex, so that happened.
I
So
have no idea what that is. Subutex, huh?
yes,
It's like Suboxone or something. It's another one.
yes, without the naltrexone, it's just the buprenorphine. Yeah,
Bupes. Got any of them Bupes?
yeah.
Yeah. Kishore was on the team of doctors who designed that buprenorphine stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's talking about this doctor that was out in Brighton.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I know him from like 1993 or 94. No, 95 or 96. He invented the home detox.
Yep. home detox. I went to do the home
So
detox.
we do this home, back then trying to get straight, just to not have a habit, not to get sober or anything. I don't want to do that. I just don't want to have to rely on heroin every day.
Literally 20 different prescriptions or so, 25, 30.
That you would get every 3 days.
3 pills. Each bottle would have like 3 pills in them, and you take one a day. 20 bottles.
So you'd have like the Shaw's bag.
A shopping bag full of.
So
Good times.
now I go to Project Turnabout, and we take the loser cruiser out. Go to the.
Yes.
Everyone's got to go to the doctor. So we're pulling in, and I'm like, "Where are we going?" They're like, "Oh, we're going to so and so family practice." I'm like, "Dr. Kishore?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Are you shitting me? What? What is this place?" But it was, how everyone got on welfare, and you could, it helped out the treatment center.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And who knows? Maybe he's helped hundreds of people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I have no idea.
We don't know. I just know what happened to me was I got a shopping bag full of bottles
Yeah.
with 3 pills in each.
Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't work for me.
No.
Anyway.
No.
Sorry. Let's go back.
Yeah, just
We
I
keep
mean,
interrupting.
but it ties into her, like, yeah, here, give you a prescription of Suboxone or Subutex, and
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
here, take this as prescribed.
Oh.
No, it doesn't happen. We can't.
So what happens again, it's kind of my MO, is another overdose and DCF comes again. So I'm going to try the new magic drug, the new one this year. Because I feel like every year they come up with a new magic drug that's going to cure me.
Yeah, so pilled up that I rattle.
Yeah, so I go on the Vivitrol shot.
Oh, yeah?
And what that looked like for me was I became a crazy IV cocaine drug user.
Yeah, I can't shoot dope, but I can shoot coke.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Vivitrol is like a...
it's an opiate blocker.
Opiate blocker, yeah.
Right.
And
Somewhere in the
I
cobwebs
agree.
of my
I
mind,
agree
knew
with
that.
that. Like for guys like coming out of jail and
Sure.
stuff like
If
that.
it works
like,
for people, that's
yeah,
great. It just didn't work for
right.
me.
Like
Yeah.
say some guy who's been in jail for 5 years, 6 months. It doesn't matter. He wants to get high when he gets out.
Right.
At least he won't die on that first shot.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Here, hit him with that. He's got 23 to 28 days where he can't get high. If it gives him that
Wow,
amount of
works
time.
that long, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yes.
crazy, huh?
It's kind of weird, I guess.
We're just amazing. We're just these big bags of chemicals, and you stick this chemical in, and that happens. Stick that chemical in, and that happens. It's just so weird.
It's all pharmaceutical.
Yeah.
Life is pharmaceutical. Broccoli's pharmaceutical.
Not if it's organic, Tom.
Oh, yeah. I forget what I was watching, but they said they spray this chemical on all organic vegetables. I'm like,
What?
then how's it organic? And it's outlawed, but it's in everything we eat.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway,
So anyhow,
Vivitrol.
I go on the Vivitrol shot. Doesn't work for me. So what usually happens again is the gig's up and I end up not having money, or my parents find out I'm using again, or another overdose. And the last time I used, what that looked like for me is I was muling for this kid, and I thought I had arrived. I thought I was this princess mafia person.
The cartel.
Yes, like this guy's cut me off some. I'm delivering this stuff. Look at me. You've got to cut me off some because I just delivered and I'm getting it all for free. But in all reality, what my truth looked like was by myself at 3 o'clock in the morning, driving down the road, trying to shoot up and missing, and then not even be able to drive another mile down the road without having to pull over again, to the point where I didn't care if the cops stopped me anymore. It was like I couldn't go on anymore. I couldn't go on, So my lovely parents found out about a place, and they told me they'd send me up there so I could get treatment, and they told me it was about 2 weeks, and I said, great, 2 weeks, I can do this. 2 weeks is nothing, And what happened is I ended up staying up there for about 4 months, which wasn't Nicole's plan, let's say.
Yeah.
And I showed up, and people were walking around with notebooks, and everybody was happy. And I thought, where the hell am I? Right?
They all drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I'm like, what is happening? You
It's
know?
hard to relate to people who are all happy and clean and
Yeah.
walking around.
Yeah,
with
when you
notebooks.
hate yourself.
When you hate yourself and you look at yourself as somebody who uses, and you're just
Yep. And you're
dragging
still
yourself
hung up
around.
on that identity.
Yeah. And I, you know, and I dismissed myself as these people aren't me. These people definitely do
Right.
not, they can't, they're not
Exactly.
like me.
You can't relate.
Yeah. You know?
But until they start opening their mouths,
Ah.
until you hear what they used to be like, and you're
Right.
like, that is exactly what I'm like.
Right.
Right.
So I was introduced to the steps, and it was eye-opening because for so long I thought I was a mental defective, right? I thought I suffered from bipolar, or I had anxiety or depression.
They gotta have a pill for something I have.
Yes, I have ADD. Like if
I
these
got all
people
those.
just treat my mental
I got all
illness,
those
I'll get off
illnesses.
these drugs.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, just give me the right drugs for the mental illnesses, and then I'll get off the street drugs. And,
Yeah.
I'll be happy.
And I didn't know that I was an alcoholic. And when I got off the drugs and alcohol without a solution, I was batshit crazy. And I didn't know how to get up and walk a dog. I didn't know how to get up and go to work every day, you know? That seemed unimaginable to me. I couldn't fathom that, you know?
Right. Well, we never learned coping mechanisms. If you've been using since you were a kid,
Right.
you never learn the how to live life without using.
Yeah.
It's so simple, but it's hard to understand.
And-
it's hard to grasp when you first start out.
Yeah,
on the journey.
and like
It's
you really never got the chance to parent, so it's like, fuck, get up and make breakfast for the kid. What the fuck? What do you mean?
Yeah.
How do I do that? I don't eat breakfast. What? You know, I go get I get a coffee. Here,
Here,
Right.
kid, have a
bottle.
coffee.
Put some coffee in that bottle. That kid going.
Want a donut? I don't know. You know?
Ham, egg, and cheese on croissant, kid.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah. And I also didn't identify with people for a long time because nothing happened to me in my childhood. And I think that I was always searching for something. Something must have happened to me as why I'm an alcoholic, if that makes
Right,
sense. And
right.
for many years, I wasted time asking myself that question.
Why? What happened?
Yeah, looking for a reason.
Right.
Looking like something to pinpoint it on,
Yes.
to blame it on.
Yes.
No, it's
Yeah.
some people are just alcoholic.
Yeah, and it's like, someone said to me, like, okay, you're an alcoholic. The question is not why you're an alcoholic, but, like, what are you going to do about it? Right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
What are you going to do about it?
I assume that there must be some sort of predisposition, like something with the chemical, the brain chemicals, where all of a sudden you get the flood of the brain chemical, and it just is so much better than the state you were before that you want it again and again. I don't know. It must be a predisposition genetically.
So
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
now immediate family, any issues?
Yes, Bob.
Like,
Yes.
like mom and dad, and like.
Um,
Because for me, it wasn't like my mom.
my mom and dad are not
It
alcoholics.
skips
no.
a generation a lot.
Yeah,
of times.
like my mom was like one drink on Friday night, and she was like, you know, dad. I remember him drinking beer, and like I remember finding rolling machines and bags of weed, but fucking dude's an engineer, you know what I mean? Like smart guy. And then years later, after I find out, I'm sober, grandpa, raging alcoholic, had no idea.
Yep.
Had no idea.
Yep.
Just always had his glass with his drink in it. I don't know what the drink was, but it was booze, obviously.
yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in like a Brady Bunch home, My
Yeah.
parents were great. They gave me everything I ever wanted and needed. I was more of a spoiled brat than I was anything.
Yeah.
Everything was all about me.
Mm-hmm.
What about that golden age of 13 when you did feel uncomfortable socially? Did that happen to you? No?
That did happen to me, and it wasn't that I didn't feel different. I hung out with different crowds. I just didn't. I was always still searching for that crowd, if that makes sense. Like I would hang out with these different type of people, different crowds in high school, different crowds growing up, but I just didn't fit into any group, if that makes sense. I just didn't fit in.
Didn't fit in.
Yeah.
I played
That's
a good
classic.
chameleon.
That's
I played
oh,
a great
yeah, yeah.
chameleon.
alcoholic behavior.
You made
Not-
people
yeah.
think you fit in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
I would dress the dress, talk the talk. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a
Wanted to
great
feel at
actor.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know.
It's you can see the pattern. It's very similar. Like someone we know always says, you know, the mistakes have been made and the books have been written.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know,
It's a beautiful saying.
we've alcoholics have been the same for hundreds and hundreds of years.
I'm sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you can go back into some religious material and read some stuff about, you know, people. That's why they call them spirits, because people drink and they're fucking different. They change. You know what I
I've
mean?
heard that.
Way
I've
back
heard
then.
that.
Way back. Way back. You know? Because, like I see people that every time they drink, they get angry. You know what I mean? And
The Native Americans believe in that. That's
Yeah.
what I heard.
yeah,
Yeah.
like alcoholics have been the same for a long, long, long time.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
We've been fucking shit up and ruining our lives for hundreds and hundreds of years. So
There's nothing new under the sun, and there's ways to get better.
yeah,
But so you were in the program. They introduced you to the steps.
Right. They introduced me to the steps, and I just started taking, suggestions, because it came to the point where I didn't want to live the life I was living anymore. I didn't know how to live a normal life.
Became willing.
I became willing. I
That's-
had that gift. I took direction, you know.
That's one of the things that happened to me too. Is when I got sober, I became willing in a different way than I ever had before. You know, and somebody in my room at the program was like, they say you're supposed to pray on your knees before you go to bed. And I was like, yeah, I pray laying down. Don't worry about me. And then I thought about it, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, am I not willing or what? And then the next night I was on my knees.
Right.
And that was, the became willing is such a huge step.
And I think
Doesn't
it's a
seem like
process too.
Yeah, it is.
It's it's not like all of a sudden it's bingo.
Yeah, it's like God's got like a backhand to you. He's like, you willing yet? No?
Right.
All right, go ahead. Whap!
One
You're
more
right
time.
there. You want some more? You're not willing yet?
yeah,
But it was, a lot of my early recovery was feeling uncomfortable and doing things I didn't want to do. That's what I was taught. Do those things that you don't want to do. You know, someone told me, go outside and pick up the cigarette butts and don't tell anybody that you did it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I'm like,
yeah. What a cool
all
concept.
right, if this is what's going to keep me sober, then I'm going to go outside and start picking up these cigarette butts. And still, I couldn't fathom, like, how is this going to keep me sober?
yeah, right.
You know, like, what?
What's this gonna do?
Yeah.
Besides make someone else's job easier.
Altruism. I
Yeah.
remember
Yes.
Dan Bolin, our counselor, that we had him on the show the first episode. He made me write down the definition to altruistic or something. Altruism, one of those.
Yeah,
You know, it's doing something for the sake of doing something, not for getting any reward, not for
Right.
getting any recognition.
yeah.
Right.
You know?
Oh, I had a sponsee he used to say, "Oh, I was altruistic today," and I'm like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
He told me he gave someone butts. I'm like, "Was anyone else around?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Did you do it so you look good?" "Yeah." So then you were a selfish fucking prick. What do you mean? Yeah,
Right.
you did it for yourself, not for him.
Right.
It's tough. Do something for someone and don't tell anyone.
Right.
Right.
Way harder than you think.
Absolutely.
Way harder. Because we want that. Oh, yeah. Good
Of
job.
course. Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
But if you can, you feel so much better. Like when they, you know that you did it, but no one else does.
Well, that's the thing. You know, you're also, you're not just doing it to impress others. You can do things to impress yourself.
Yeah.
Because you can do things to make yourself ashamed. You can do things to make yourself hate yourself. You can make all these stupid little actions that you do when you're out there using that eventually in the back of your mind you start thinking of yourself as that person and you're loathing yourself. You can do the exact opposite of that. In the back of your mind you can have these nice things that you know that you're the guy who did that or the person who did that too. Without even consciously thinking about it. But that's like it builds up, you know. Just be see I just changed my there's a quote that I love. It's We are what we repeatedly do. I think it's Aristotle.
Mm.
It's a good one. Right?
Yeah, so I started going through the steps, and another thing is I needed people to break down my ego, if that makes sense, because I had this big facade, right? That I was a good daughter, and I was a good mom, and I was a good friend, and I'd give you the shirt off my back, when in all reality, no. If you didn't have something for me, or something I needed, or wasn't going to do something that benefited me.
Yeah, even if it was down the road.
Yeah. You know?
I can relate to that, Jimmy.
Yeah. I needed someone to tell me, like, you don't know how to be a mother. You know?
Yeah. And
you don't know what a true friend is because you've never been one.
It stings and it hurts, but it helps you learn how to be those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be a hard thing to hear. You don't know how to be a mother. That's a difficult thing to.
But it was my truth, Tom.
Right.
It was my truth, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to hear the hard things.
Right.
But then you meet people that show you how.
Yes.
You know, around here.
Oh yes.
Like, you don't know how to do something. There's someone around here that does.
Absolutely.
That's
Somebody
what's beautiful.
who's going to tell you all about it. That's right.
Yeah.
You know.
So I had taken a third step, and again, not quite sure what that was all about. All I knew it was me making a contract with God that I was gonna, you know what? Let me give these steps a try, and if they don't work, I can always go back out there, right? What did I have to lose?
Right.
You know?
Your misery will be refunded.
Yeah. So I read this, prayer off a piece of paper, still clueless on what I was doing, and I started writing. And I think, when I started writing, it broke me down. I don't know if it broke me down, but it was like it allowed me to release so much stuff that I had built up over time, over years and years, and it helped me to see that I'm not the person I want to be. I needed to change and become the person I wanted to become. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I did steps 5, 6, 7, and still so unsure. Was I, the perfectionism kicked in. Was I doing it right? If I did it wrong, was this going to work? And, am I praying right? Am I doing this right? And, all this crazy delusional thinking that we addicts have, or myself that I have.
Alcoholic thinking.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
Stinking thinking.
Yes.
Yep. Thinking. Your thoughts really smell.
So I wrote my 8th step, and I was given the okay to, all right, let's go start some amends, and I made a trip back to Mass, and I can remember my poor father was scared shitless that the cops were going to come when I started going to all these stores to make amends for, stealing and stuff, and my dad was like, I need to drive you, I need to go with you, and I'm talking to my contact up there, and I'm like, my dad wants to go with me, what do I say? And they're like, if it makes your dad happy that he wants to go with you, then
let him go.
You make your dad happy, right? Because you've fucked this guy so much, fucked his life up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I make these amends, and I go to this one treatment center I had been to before, and I was so egotistical when I was there. I was a frequent flyer, right? Like, the airline tickets.
Oh, yeah.
You fly so many times, you think you're rewarded, and you need to go to first class. That was me.
Yeah.
I thought...
Untreated alcoholism and going through these treatment centers, you think, I'm going to walk through those doors. They're going to say, hey, Nicole. That sucks. But we think that's cool.
Absolutely.
As an active addict or alcoholic. We're known in a treatment center, so we're cool. No, you should be on a different bus. That's not the cool bus. But we talk about on almost every episode is that identity.
Yeah.
We just that was our identity, and we need that to almost to get through our everyday life, whether we're sober or not. Someone knows who I am.
Right. I said, oh, I'm thinking, my delusional thinking is like, oh, they're going to be so happy to see me. They're going to know I'm not dead. They're going to, want to give me a hug. And maybe I'll get an extra pillow and some real coffee or something, like so delusional.
Yeah.
So I had to make amends to the man who ran this facility. And I can remember, I made my amends. And he said, Nicole, I forgive you, but you need to forgive yourself. And I can remember walking out of the building and all of a sudden, the waterworks happens and I'm saying, thank you, God. Like, this is really working, like this is really working in my life. And, I'm still newly sober and still sick at times. And I say to myself, well, I have to go to one more store and I'll be, in and out, make this amends, go back, and I show up in the front of the store and I'm thinking, the manager's going to bring me to the back room and it's just going to be me and the manager. I'll be in and out, bing, bang, boom. Well, God had a different plan because Nicole's plan never works out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I walk in and, I ask for the manager and the manager comes and it's right at the front of the building of the entrance of the store and customer service is there and the cashiers are there and there are people all around. And I said, all right, what am I willing to do to stay sober, right? What lengths am I willing to? If I have to be humbled, that's what God wants me to be, right? So, I stand in front of the woman and I tell her, I start to make the amends to her and she starts crying and I'm thinking to myself, oh dear, like, I don't think I stole that much money, right? Like, still sick mentality. Like, lady, you don't know how much money I've really taken and I'm making a financial amends to you. And she says, I know what you're doing right now. You're making an amends to me. And I kind of looked at her funny, and she said, my husband died 3 years ago of alcoholism, and my kids told me they didn't want to bury me, too. And you've proved to me that people still do this work, right?
Wow, yeah. Wow.
And that really hit me because for so many times people would say the amends isn't about you. The amends isn't about you. And I don't think until that day I actually realized that, that God was like, Nicole, this isn't about you. This is about that lady,
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
It's a great story right there.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
And sometimes us stupid alcoholics, we need something like that for us to realize that we got to keep doing this shit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, we need that God shot.
Yep.
So delusional, I have to make an amends to my oldest son. I'll tell you one more amends story. I have to make this amends to my son, and I have it all planned out because Nicole, everything's gotta go right, So I'm like, I'm gonna bring him out to eat. I'm gonna have this talk with him. We're gonna have this deep, loving connection, mother-son, thing. And I'm like, all right, Stephen, where do you want to go? And he's like, Panera Bread. I'm like, Panera Bread? Like, I'll take you out. He's like, no, I want to go to Panera Bread. All right, we go to Panera Bread. And I sit down and I tell him about like what a shitty mother I was, and he knows all this. I mean, I pretty much walked him into the woods with me,
He lived it.
Yeah, he's lived it.
Yeah.
And he says back to me, Mom, I just want you to be there. That was it. That's all he said. And I was still kind of like, I want you to give me more. No, say something else to me. Tell me you're mad at me. Tell me you're angry, or tell me, something. And I can remember calling my sponsor afterwards and being like, all he said to me was, I just want you to be there. And she said to me, how powerful is that?
But you're like,
yeah,
that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
You're being selfish during your events.
Yes. Like, give me more. I know.
Yeah.
And she was like, he just wants you to show up. And I think that's part of like, being a mother and being a parent in recovery is like, I make mistakes all the time, but my one thing is I just have to keep showing up, I just put one foot in front of the other and they know that I'm there and, I'm perfectly imperfect, I'm a human.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the biggest thing we have to remember.
Right.
We fuck up
all the time.
I was talking to a couple of the people out front when I got in here, and one of the girls that was sitting down, she was like, "Yeah, I've known you for a while. Like, how's things? You still doing like the same since?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "It's been 16 years." And she was like, and I was like, "But the only thing I have done right is not pick up. No matter how I felt, no matter how shitty things went."
I don't believe
That's
that.
the
I think you've
only
done
thing.
a lot of other things right.
No. That's 100%.
Oh, that's nice. Tom.
100% right. Like I've failed every area of my life that I could fail, but it didn't make me feel bad enough that I needed to resort to my old.
Right. Well, I
ways.
think after a while you realize that there's nothing in it for you. It's not going to provide any release.
No.
There's no
like
release there.
that's the only thing I've done
It's a lie.
perfectly, is not pick up
Right.
a day at a
Right.
time.
Mm.
You
A
know?
lot of days at a time.
Yeah.
It's because you're old. No.
Yes, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I don't look that old though. I think I look pretty well. start dyeing my hair and take like 15 years off.
No.
But yeah, we hang out with a lot of the same people,
We do.
and it's always laughing.
Always.
That's why I put that up last night. You know what I mean? I was like, she's gonna hate me, but because I know you could tend to get a little nervous about things. So.
I do. I still get nervous. I it's not like I haven't spoken before multiple times, but I don't know.
So
I just talk to God before I speak. That's what I do.
So what's a day in the life of Nicole look like now, as opposed to, say, 10 years ago?
Oh, jeepers. I get up every day and I go to work. That is crazy. That's insane right there, okay? I pray every morning. One thing that I've done since I've gotten sober is I pray. I have to pray.
Me too.
Prayer is a big part of my life. Without God, I wouldn't be sober. So I talk to God. I go to work and I come home and I'm a mother of 2 boys. I have a 17-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I'm a single parent, and cook dinner and we hang out, and the next day it's repeated. But my life's very simple now, and I like to keep it very simple.
Yeah.
I have a few people. I went from like wanting to be friends with everyone to now my life consists of a very small circle, and I'm absolutely okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely okay with that,
And I was the same. Like, I always thought, like, the more people that I knew and hung out with, like, the, better people would think of me.
Oh, ego-driven big time, right?
Now it's like, I ain't got room for that in the circle. Nope.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny because a friend of mine really banged up out in the West Coast, and another kid went out there and had this whole plan, like, all right, yeah, I'll come home and we'll do what we need to do. And he calls me up, and I was working, I didn't get to answer it, and he leaves me a voicemail. He's like, dude, now I know why you're the way you are after all these years, like, how you can, like, because I can't stay, like, so emotionally connected anymore, because it's like it's hurt way too much, and now I know, like, yeah, it's alcoholic behavior, like, I understand, I have empathy, but it doesn't affect me as much as it used to.
I can identify with that.
And like, the kid went out, flew all the way out there, like, put his life on hold, and dude, like, basically ditched him at the airport.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Like,
That's
and
what we do.
I understood that as well. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, you didn't expect that? Like,
Right.
should have had LoJack on that motherfucker. Like, handcuffs. There used to be this show called The Cleaner. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I think it was Benjamin Pratt. And he used to, like, dude, it was on
I
for, like,
remember
one
that.
season, maybe 2. And he would, like, families would find him and they would hire him. And he would go and kidnap people and, like, detox them, and, like, they would get better. I fucking loved it. It was awesome. I want to do that. But it don't work all the time,
Well, I think that just having kids will bring your if you're doing the right thing, just having kids will bring your circle a little smaller. I mean, you can't be social butterfly when you got people dependent on you. You know what I mean? You got to be kind of a little less.
Well, I can remember, being in early recovery and it being Friday night and thinking to myself, my God, it's Friday night. Like, are we supposed to be doing something?
Yeah, we got a party, don't we?
And now I'm like, oh, Friday night, my home group, and, like, we go out to eat, and then I get to go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm in
Right.
bed by 10, and
Get
that's
to
a
go
great
home.
night
Yeah,
if you
it's a
ask
great
me.
night.
you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. I remember the feeling of like when I finally did start working like construction type jobs again. On that afternoon, that Friday afternoon, you'd know the weekend was there, and traditionally it would be like race home to take a shower to get back out and get my belly full of beer or whatever it was I was gonna be putting in my system. It was like an elation, like a anticipation, and you're all psyched up. And then after a while it was just I was sick and I had to get out of work and cop, so I didn't shit my pants.
Yeah, and also it's like
Bad now.
You know what I mean?
but now it's like, yes, it's Friday, it's payday, but no, you borrowed all you paid during the week, so you're fucking broke.
So
You know what I mean? Like, I work for a friend of mine, kid I grew up with, fucking since we were in kindergarten, and it got to the point where one day he was like, you know what? Payday is on fucking Friday, dude. I can't do it no more. He knew what was going on, but he just wasn't like too keen on like the addict alcoholic behavior. But like he did it in his way. He's like, you'll get paid on Friday.
Right.
Because I'd be
no
like,
more lending.
hey
you.
bro, I need like I need gas, or the electricity got shut off.
Dude, that reminds me of a time period in my life where I was living in Roslindale and I was working on the Cape. And I had this old shitbox Volkswagen Golf, and the clutch pedal used to fall off. And I would...
I had a Volkswagen Golf, John.
I would do my wake up, and I'd put the clutch pedal on. I would start driving down the Cape, and then it would fall off at a light. I'd open the door, put it back on. Oh, my God.
When you probably only needed like a wrist pin or a cotter pin, something that was 40 cents at a hardware
What I
store.
needed was to jack it up, remove the gas cap, and pull another car underneath.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know
right?
what I mean?
Set that thing on fire.
Oh, just nuts. And that was the time when I was like, oh, yeah, well, can we get paid out for that job, on a Tuesday?
Terrible.
Gross.
Terrible.
Just gross.
And I remember like, all right, I got to go work a shift. I got enough to get me through. And I got to wait till this time to do it. Be on the fucking way there and be like, fuck it. Knowing I'm going to fucking be sick.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I couldn't even stop myself from doing it.
It's so ugly. Oh,
Yeah. And
bad.
like I drive by those people today, and like that shit is still that fresh. Like,
oh yeah.
did a little roundabout through Brockton today, and I was like,
well, you know what keeps me
on a day like today,
Uh,
with the humidity and the heat running around.
Yeah.
no, thank you.
I remember the what keeps me honest with myself is the feeling of remember how powerful the urge to use was, and how much it would dismiss anything else.
Oh,
it didn't matter what else.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? That's so powerful, and I don't want to be under the control of that anymore. I have a great life. I enjoy myself. I appreciate myself, and I don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? And there's no question in my mind that if I start down the road, whatever road it is, whether it's appetizers and a beer at some place or whatever, I'm gonna be that guy again if I'm not careful. Yep. You know what I mean? If I don't maintain myself.
Absolutely.
But it's beautiful life. It's so good. I love that. What is it? You can have everything. You just got to give up one thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
You can give up everything
So
and have
true.
one thing, or give up one thing and have everything.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, would you rather be a mule?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey Juan, how's your burro? I was a mule.
All right. So how long? Oh, we're about there.
We're doing good.
We're about there.
Yeah, so what I continue to do is I continue to write inventory. I meditate. I read spiritual litter. And I help other women. Literature.
Where do you find spiritual litter?
In the cat box.
Because I bet you if you... God's cat box has spiritual litter.
Let me know when you clean that cat box out, Chris.
Told you it would make fun of you. Spiritual litter. We're patenting that one. Is that like trash at church?
It is. It is. It is.
Cool. So, yeah, spiritual literature.
Remind me to smack you when we get out of here. Yeah. So, yeah, I try to read spiritual literature and I meditate. Probably not as much as I should, but
Ain't
you know,
nobody got no time for that.
there's always stuff I have to continue working on in
Yeah.
recovery.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
In
If you guys
life.
can identify with that, yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's a good thing,
It's a
Absolutely.
fantastic
you know, because when we think we got it all, that's when we're bumming.
That's where
Listen,
I'm
Chris,
bumming.
I'm still crazy.
And if you ever did have it all, it'd be boring.
Yeah, right.
Why would you want to have it all? You
Right.
just want to keep working at to get it all.
Yeah. My job
know,
is just to,
that's-
like, be a good person today. Be
Yeah.
a mom to my kids. Be a friend.
Yep.
You know? Help other people.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Live life, and that's the thing. Like, we're not doing anything fucking miraculous.
Not at all.
That's right.
We're actually living and behaving and doing the things that we should be doing.
Absolutely.
That's how we should live. You
Absolutely.
know, and
That's right.
if the whole world did that, we'd have a lot less problems.
Do unto others as you would have done to you.
Mm.
Right?
That's the truth.
Yes.
That's the truth. All right. So with that, I think we better wrap this up.
Yeah. So
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Tom.
Nicole.
Thank you, Chris.
Subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube. You can also subscribe.
We're probably coming to Stitcher in the next couple of days. We're
Yeah,
on Stitcher.
Instagram. I think
Instagram. We got
yep.
an Instagram page now. Yep. So we're big things. Big
Yes.
things are happening.
Share. You know, if anyone has any topics, anyone wants to be on the podcast,
yeah.
like
please
definitely
let us know.
check us out. You know, hit us up, message the Facebook group, Life on Life's Terms podcast, and you know we'll do what we can. You know, if anyone needs to talk or needs help,
We can point you in
we
the right
can
direction.
definitely
that's
point
for
you in the
sure.
right direction.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So again, thanks to Cole, LOLTerms.com.
Peace.
Deuces.
Want to end that YouTube stream?
Oh yes.
Bye.